What's up, guys? Maritime Spook here, and freezing cold and lots of snow here in Atlantic Canada, but that's awesome because it makes travel and makes out looking for tracks and just different stuff. This is like my take a deep breath kind of time of the year, and I do really like it. I got a big mission to do here soon, guys. I set up that lava you guys saw in one of my recent videos. And honestly, guys, I didn't set the pole up the way I should have, and the pole blew down, and now it's up there covered in a bunch of snow. So I got a big mission in the really cold and a good walk to go get that thing taken apart and put back together. So that'll be fun, but that's what winter's about. If you have time to get out and enjoy nature, do it, and I'll still enjoy myself. It'll just be a bit of a chore getting that thing put back together. But before I do any of that, guys, and the knife that I'm going to have on my belt today when I do so is going to be this knife right here. And this is the Brisa Knives Nessmuk 125. This is a great, we'll say reproduction of the George Washington Sears or Nessmuk design knife. And who George Washington Sears was, he was a writer for Field and Stream magazine. It had a different name back then, but it became Field and Stream magazine. And he was just a small little fella, guys. He was like 5'2", 5'3", and like 100 pounds. And he carried a very distinctive little toolkit, we'll say, for the woods. And it consisted of a knife in this shape and fashion. A double bit axe that was sharpened different on each end of the double bit. And a small little folding trapper type knife for carving and things like that. But most of his work, he used his Nessmuk design knife, and that's where you'll get the name Nessmuk. Some people weren't sure. I talked to a guy a couple days ago. He wasn't sure where the whole Nessmuk thing came from, and I sent him a couple links about George Washington Sears, and this is where that knife comes from, his design. There's actually a picture in one of his writings, and it shows a knife like this. And this is a great reproduction, but it's gone further because it's more modern materials and stronger, a better steel, the whole bit. Actually, I met the person who actually physically made this knife from Brisa. I met them on Instagram. The person, I'm not going to get into a big thing personal-wise of the person, but she is a very nice and attractive woman, and I named this knife Daisy after her, guys, because a lot of my knives have names. And they have names because I like them, and I'll name a knife that I really like. And people that know me could even say today, like, you have this knife on you, or, you know, Excalibur, or now this will be Daisy. So they'll know I have Daisy on me. Anyway, that didn't sound good. That's not what I meant. So, very cool person. And for you guys, don't be trying to look her up like that. She's not single, but she's very informed on how to make a knife, and she makes some beautiful knives for Brisa. They're a great company, guys, and they're actually the company that makes one of my actual super favorite knives, which is the Hiker 95. And this has replaced like my Moore Companion and carrying the Kanzabol and stuff like that a lot, guys. And I like those knives, don't get me wrong, but I just like this one a little bit better because of the blade shape. And I absolutely love the handle. And in the wintertime, guys, these polypropylene type of handles like this are just better. They just are better. There's no way around it. I love the wood, and I love different ones, and this one is actually really good too. But I just really like those type of knives, and that Brisa Hiker has basically replaced quite a few of my knives, and I think this one will too, because it has everything that I want. It has the continuous curvature in the blade, obviously. That's the classic Nessmuk design. It's got a wicked sharp 90-degree spine that's just like scary sharp for shaving fat wood and for you know, shaving down bark, processing things down. And it is a wicked sharp Scandinavian grind. And they actually recommend, if you're going to be doing any like chopping like with it and stuff like that, you could put a secondary bevel at 32 degrees on here, but I haven't found any need, and the edges, actually, I batoned a little bit with it, and the edge is great on it. I did an Instagram post yesterday that got a couple thousand views on it of this knife, doing some fat wood stuff, and I'm going to try to put that into another video. This was just kind of just showing it to you, and going on that same, having a little talk about, you know, the Nessmuk and the history. What's cool about these type of knives, guys, is he made these knives more for skinning game and for doing his heavier work that way with processing fish and in meat and things like that. But he also wanted the knife to be able to do all that other stuff that, you know, getting your fire going, everything. Because it's silly in a way to carry a whole whack of different tools when you can get away with carrying 2 or 3. And George Washington Sears, he actually was one of the people who was basically been credited with being starting the ultralight camping phase, where people carry just as, you know, just enough to get by and still can enjoy everything, and they can move along, because he did a lot of canoeing, things like that, without having 400 pounds of gear. Because back in the 1800s, other than people that were like pioneers, people that got into camping in 18 and 1900s that got into camping, they would carry huge wagons full of stuff, and like, you know, it was really cumbersome. So you're enjoying the outdoors would be done just at a base camp, as opposed to moving around. And that was kind of you know, like, he was one of the guys who, you know, one of the first guys who actually said, okay, well, we don't need all that stuff. And that's where this knife comes into play. It's 80 V2, 80 CR V2 steel, which is a great strong steel. It's ground just beautifully. It has curly birch scales and beautiful red liners, guys. And this, the sheath here is exactly how I figured it would be, because all the Brisa sheaths are beautiful. And it's an absolutely beautiful Dangler style sheath. But I love how they do their danglers. I set it on the Hiker 95 because you can actually just pull that down, and then the dangler's not in the way. There's some knives, it's either going to be a dangler, or it's, you know, they'll put a belt loop, but it's either going to be a dangler or nothing. This one, with the Brisa knives, you can actually wear it that way without this dangler piece getting in your way. And sometimes I do like wearing a knife that's not the dangler. Now in the winter, definitely going to have it as a dangler anyway, but you know, different times of the year, you may or may not want a dangler, and that dangler is not going to get in the way on this knife that way. But beautiful knife, guys. History abound with this, and that's another thing, guys. I think we should look at people of our past for kits. You know, what did they carry? How did they carry them? And that's just another, like, the Brisa paying homage to them, and making a beautiful knife, guys. Now, I got a lot of stuff to do today. I'm going to shoot some other footage, but I really just wanted to show you this first, because I'll have a chance to upload this today into town, so it'll go a little bit quicker, I think. But just a beautiful upswept blade shape. And you can see a butcher knife, we'll say butcher knife type design in the blade. And there's a lot of questions as to where he got the knife and who made it and how he got the idea. And it's something you can research, guys, because I've been researching it as well. And but the number one theme was that he wanted this to be able to do his meat processing. You know, like he was out hunting and fishing and things to get his meat, to be able to do this nomadic minimalist camping, you know, lightweight trekking and stuff that he was doing. And he wanted a knife that was great at processing the meat, but also great at his woodcraft and getting fires going, things like that. So look at that. Look at this knife in that way too, guys. There's a lot of people that live a subsistence lifestyle where they're hunting, fishing, they're out doing things all the time that, you know, you need your knife to process meat and to do things like that. This is a knife to look at right here, guys. You get a beautiful package. These aren't super expensive for what you get. They're pretty much, you know, a mid-tech / you know, almost a custom knife for the price of a production knife. So I mean, I really love it, guys. The sheath and everything's immaculate. Very thick welted leather. The liners are beautiful. It's got beautiful pins. It's just a great little addition. But that was just a quick little look at it first, guys. I got plenty of videos with this knife, and even the Hiker 95 planned. I wrote down a whole bunch of them, and we had the Lavu up, but we got to fix that. But we're gonna go along, and I'm gonna take you on more of a tour around here, guys, because there's so much stuff I didn't do, and I feel up to it now. So I'm gonna get it done. But anyway, guys, that was just a first look at the Brisa Hiker, yeah. The Brisa Nessmuk 125, and the 125 comes from the blade length, if you want to know that, 125 millimeters. Just immaculate knife, guys. It's so just wicked in hand. And if you're wondering too, if you know Brisa, they actually make and finish off the Enzo line, like the Enzo Trapper and Enzo Camper and Enzo Elver, all these knives. And this actually has the Enzo Trapper handle. And I mean, I love it. A friend of mine had the Trapper. I've said it before in videos. That was one of my favorite. That was one of the knives that got me into wanting to get like quality bushcraft knives. And I loved the handle on it. And that was the first thing I said to him. And this has that handle. And it's just, you can't get a better bushcraft handle grip right there. So you're getting the actual trapper handle. You're getting a really historic, beautiful blade with a lot of history. The spine is just scary sharp to be able to process everything. So you're getting a bushcrafter's bushcraft knife, if that makes any sense. But just gorgeous, guys. So we'll get out and do some more tasks with this one. This is going to be the next one to do some tasks. I have some other videos lined up, but I'm going to carry this one today with the things I'm going to be doing the next day or so. So this will be the one that we get up the soonest with, you know, some other videos. So anyway, guys, stay safe. It's freezing out. I'm going to get going up there, do a few things, and then I'll get back with you here very soon. Stay safe, guys.